Meet the Chery Omoda E5, the brand's first electric car in Australia. Priced from about $45,000 drive away, designed to go head-to-head with the BYD Atto 3, MG ZS EV and Hyundai Kona Electric. This video we're going to tell you what it's like inside and all the differences compared to the petrol Omoda 5. Take it on the road to tell you what it's like to drive and why it's better than that petrol car too. And of course, tell you how much it costs and whether you should buy one. Let's get started. Now, how do you tell an Omoda E5 apart from its petrol sibling? Well, the biggest change is definitely this new front bumper. It's all closed off, there's no more grille. Obviously, an electric car doesn't need as much cooling as a petrol-powered car. You can see some other changes. This new green paint is exclusive to the electric version. Different 18-inch wheels with an aero-style design we see on a lot of electric cars. Of course, there's badging at the back, but something you'll see on only the first 350 or so Omoda E5s coming to Australia is this. It doesn't actually say Chery on the front or the back. Instead, you have Omoda badges. That's only something for the first 350 or so cars coming to Australia. That will change to Chery eventually. The little detail for the first customers who buy these cars, the early adopters, so to speak, to tell them apart from later models. Before we jump on the road, if you're looking to buy an electric car, whether it's a Chery Omoda E5 or anything else on the market, head over to Drive Marketplace. You have a ton of new and used electric cars, also petrol, diesel and hybrid ones too, for sale from trusted dealers around Australia. Head over to Drive Marketplace on our website. Two model variants of the Chery Omoda E5 are available, the BX and the EX, priced from $42,990 and $45,990 plus on-road costs. Unlike other models in the Chery range, the Omoda E5 is not covered by nationwide drive-away prices. So the final price customers pay depends on differing government charges such as registration and stamp duty in each state and territory. In New South Wales, for example, the BX and EX are listed for $46,480 and $49,610 drive-away respectively, according to the Chery website. Standard equipment in the BX includes 18-inch alloy wheels, LED headlights, front and rear parking sensors, dual 12.3-inch interior screens with wireless and wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a plastic steering wheel, cloth and synthetic leather look seat upholstery, and manually adjustable front seats. It is fitted with a full list of advanced safety technology including lane centering assist, adaptive cruise control and blind spot monitoring. EX variants add full synthetic leather look seat trim, power adjustable heated front seats, a sunroof, 360-degree camera, power tailgate and more. Alright, inside the Omoda E5. Now usually when car companies turn a petrol car into an electric vehicle, there's normally not a whole lot of change inside, but this car actually has a different dashboard and center console to the petrol version of the Omoda 5. You won't notice at first, you do need to see photos or see them next to each other to actually notice. This car's a more horizontal design here, and you don't have the dual phone slots like you do in the petrol car. But I'll say it is a really nice interior. You've got bigger screens, 12.3 inches for the infotainment screen, as well as the driver instrument display. Both pretty clear and relatively easy to use. The center touchscreen is pretty fast, doesn't feel laggy in any way at all. They will say they have got rid of the home button to go from Apple CarPlay to the main screen. It's now a couple of taps rather than just pressing a physical shortcut. Bit of step backwards, and I wish they added that bit in, or kept it rather, from the petrol Omoda 5. Now, as with a lot of modern cars, your air conditioning controls are also in this touchscreen. You can swipe up from the bottom to open up that screen, so it isn't too hard to access. But obviously some physical dials and things would be nicer and easy to use on the move with your eyes on the road. Now the driver information screen ahead of me here is pretty clear and also easy to use as well. You can flick through various computers and tire pressures and things like that. And it is quite a large speedo as well with your range and your battery capacity and those kind of things you expect on a driver instrument display. Other than that, other places around here, you've got really nice soft materials on the dashboard as well as the lower dashboard here on the doors and the armrest. Doesn't really feel like a car that's built down to a price by any means. In terms of storage, you've got small cubby hole there, dual cup holders as well as a wireless phone charger, and large center console bin there. Glove box is also decent size, as are the door bins, so plenty of places to put odds and ends and things while you're driving. Also get a sunroof in that car as well. It's pretty well equipped and doesn't really feel wanting for equipment in any way at this sub 50 grand price point. These seats, they're shared with the petrol-powered Omoda 5. You get a choice of cloth and synthetic leather look or full synthetic leather look trim, depending on which model you go for. They're pretty comfortable and supportive enough for what this car is. You get power adjustment as well on the top of the range model. Another thing the top of the range car gets, which is base model doesn't, is a leather trim steering wheel. This is the base model I'm sitting in now. As you can see, it has this really cheap and nasty feeling plastic wheel. Really wish Chery put a leather steering wheel across the range. Just feels unnecessarily cheap for a car that's 45 grand on the road. And if your budget stretches that far to that EX flagship version, definitely worth a step up in equipment and what you get, particularly on this steering wheel. All right, let's head to the back. Now, space back here is pretty good. I'm 6'1". This driver's seat is set up for where I drive. I have to say, I do have a decent amount of room. Enough knee room here, not limo-like, but still enough to be comfortable. good headroom despite this sloping roofline, and some pretty good tow room as well. We'll say if there's one thing that could be improved, it's the under-thigh support. It's very common with electric cars. The floor is higher because there's a battery underneath, which means there's not as much space between the bottom of the seat base and the floor of the car. So you can feel a little bit perched up. By all means, there are electric cars that are worse than this, but some also are better. So an area that could be improved for a future model. Now in terms of materials and things back here, you get the same seat trim as the front, so cloth centers on this base model. Got some leather-like materials on the doors and the armrest, so it doesn't feel like a cheap car and Chery's has cut corners back here. Absolutely not. It does feel really nice. Now in terms of amenities, you've got rear air vents back here. You have 2 USB-C ports, 1 USB-A and 1 USB-C. That's in addition to the 3 up front. That's 2 USB up front and 1 USB-C, including one's up there to plug in a dash cam on the rear view mirror. Map pockets as well. Decent sized door bin. It's not the largest, but also not too small to fit anything in it, as well as a fold down center armrest with a pair of cup holders. Overall, not the roomiest in the class, probably not quite as large inside as a BYD Atto 3, but definitely not the smallest and not cramped by any means. Before we get on the road, let's check out the boot. Now on paper, at only 300 litres, this boot isn't the largest in the small SUV class by any means, but I will say the opening is normal size, so you can fit boxes and things like that without too much drama. You've got a 12-volt socket, light on the side as well, but I have to say the most interesting thing about the boot of the Omoda E5 is under here, because you have a full-size spare wheel. That's really rare in an electric car. Most electric cars just have a tyre repair kit at best, let alone even a space-saver spare wheel. Fantastic to see, something that Chery says it pushed for to have on the Australian version of this car, and great to have the convenience of that given the state of Aussie roads. All right, on the road in the Omoda 5, and the first thing you notice as an electric car, put your foot down, pretty decent shove. It's not a Tesla-like acceleration by any means, but 150 kilowatts is definitely nothing to sneeze at in this size of car. It's more than quick enough for city driving, highway overtaking, never really feels out of breath or underpowered in any way. As with electric cars, it's relatively quiet. There is some tyre noise coming in, as you can probably hear in the background of this video. A little bit of wind noise as well at higher speeds, but nothing too bad. And of course, there's no engine under the bonnet, so it is naturally quieter than a petrol-powered car. Now, other thing with the electric car, there's no lag. So instant response, put foot down, no waiting or anything for a gears to change down or an engine to respond to your input. Now in terms of the steering, it's pretty light in its standard mode, also reasonably direct as well. You can increase the weight to make it a little bit firmer for sportier driving, and some drivers will prefer that. I personally do, but again, you may not, so worth taking the car for a test drive before you sign on the dotted line. Now, in terms of ride and handling, it does feel a little bit firmer over bumps than a regular Omoda 5, but by no means is it uncomfortable or stiff or anything like that. It doesn't feel sporty, it doesn't crash over bumps. It's a really nice balance between comfort in terms of soaking up bumps without making you feel them, and control, not pitching and wallowing over speed humps and like a boat cresting a wave, for example. Other things to mention, visibility out the front is pretty good, though it's a little bit limited out the rear. You've got a choice of 3 regen braking modes, though you don't have a full 1 pedal mode that'll bring you to a full stop without having to touch the brake pedal. And the high regen mode is a little bit hard to modulate, but put it on the low setting and it's perfectly fine. The car slows down when you lift off the accelerator pedal, and it's really easy and nice and natural to drive around town. Also worth mentioning the advanced safety systems in this car. They are improved compared to earlier Chery models, but still the lane centering assist is a little bit jerky at times, and lane keep assist can not always detect some roads. There is some room for improvement, but again, it is better than, say, Chery's were when it came to Australia about 18 months ago. Now, if you find yourself on a nice winding country road, look, it's not designed to be a sports car, it doesn't handle like one either. There's some body roll, and these tyres are better than a normal petrol Omoda 5, but still not performance tyres. But that's perfectly fine, this car isn't designed to be a sports car. If you want something that's a bit sportier in this market segment, electric car around 50 grand, worth checking out the MG4, but that car can't match the space and the SUV driving position that this car does offer. So there you have it, our first taste of the Chery Omoda E5 electric car. Initial impressions are positive, pleasant to drive, got plenty of room inside, and the price is really good for what you get at this money. If you're looking for an electric car under $50,000, this one is definitely worth taking for a test drive. If you enjoyed this video, please click like to stay up to date with our latest videos, hit subscribe and that little notification bell. And of course, to read the full written review, head to Drive.com.au through the link in the description below.